Sad reality working in tech startup. In my current job, a Web3 developer, our founder his wife decided to change the company rules. Here's the saying. I'm not forcing everyone to work 24/7. Just complete everything on weekdays so you don't have to overtime on weekends. As a developer, as much as you don't want to fix bugs, you knew you will spend your weekdays fixing it. That said, I couldn't complete new features in this week due to bugs will end up having me to work on weekend to actually build the new features. Otherwise I have to state a reasonable reason for not completing it on that particular week. The tension is surreal that I was once a motivated developer turning into someone who doesn't care about the code structure. At the end of the day, nobody cares about your code flaws if the company just want an immediate output. Depreciate the self-driven of having a mentality of writing a well-crafted scripts. The boss once said, I expect everyone to give 100 as I'm giving it all. TLDR, before you join a startup, study the company background. Web3 developer, there's your problem. Start interviewing for another job. Also, start tracking and documenting the work that you did per day. And complain about the process if you cannot get features in. Start undercommitting. Feature X, Y, Z wasn't finished because I had to allocate all my time to bugs A, B, C. That's it. I wouldn't bring up working the weekend or overtime unless someone actually asked. Nobody is going to respect your boundaries if you don't enforce them. How much equity do you have? All Web3 companies are shitty non-contributional companies for the society. They create virtual non-exist tokens to lure people's money. I don't know why government allows non-exist tokens to be traded with the real dollars. The boss once said, I expect everyone to give 100 as I'm giving it all. Hot face. Response to this is, and you have a lot more ownership in the company than me. Doesn't make sense to kill yourself over some minor equity. Honestly, what do Web3 developers work on and build? Genuinely curious. No hating. If you try to do a lot of work, you get more work. The problem will be waiting for you. Working on it during your weekend won't change that. Web3. Founder sounds stupid. Wife sounds stupid. Sounds real fun. Red flag of death in an interview. We don't care how many hours you work as long as you get your work done. Translation: you will get so much work you're not going home. If you're fast you will get more work. Nothing will be enough. Might be outside the scope of what OP wrote, but I'll never work for a family-owned company again. It was such a shit show and they were cheap as hell. Not saying all family-ran companies are like this. But I had a terrible experience at a startup that was ran by husband and wife. Don't work on weekends or evenings unless you actually have a sizable equity stake or being given bonuses that reflect your commitment above the 40-hour workweek. Being expected to give 100 needs to come with being compensated accordingly. Otherwise, weekends and evenings time should go towards brushing up your resume and interviewing skills. Or just going out having fun. Very accurate post. Remind me of a startup I worked for. There are well-run startups led by thoughtful people. Most aren't in the Web3 space. You joined a scam startup. An easy tell is the mere promise of equity. Reputable startups don't work like that. You have a clearly defined amount and vesting schedule. This is why I avoided crypto or Web3 or blockchain like a plague during my job search. You can bet your bottom Dogecoin that most of these companies won't exist by the end of the year. Oh boy. I guess it doesn't matter how much you're doing something if at the end you're just doing it for the sake of it. In that case, do you feel like really improving your code or just going like a headless chicken? Just don't work overtime and on weekends. Nothing will actually happen. Welcome to capitalism. Web3 is not a thing. Please stop saying Web3 is a thing. Lol, why do you put this pressure on yourself? I would do as much as I can on the working days, but I wouldn't be doing unpaid overtime. What's the worst that will happen? Lol. Let me guess, op. The boss never praises. The boss only contacts you when talking about bad things. Every call is something to nitpick, find flaws or tell bad news, i.e. termination. The boss once said, I expect everyone to give 100 as I'm giving it all. Perfectionism. Biggest red flag of all IMO. You're in Web3. There's no future for that company that doesn't end with a rug pull or a website that just says penis . And it's rather toxic on your CV. So get out now. IMO. TBH, I don't understand why people want to work for a startup. I don't see the fascination of working directly with the CEO or wearing multiple hats or making a difference. Startups and recruiters should normalize 6-month contracts and not call them low-skilled because they need mercenaries, not long haulers. What is a Web3 developer? And what do you mean about not wanting to fix bugs? Why wouldn't you want to fix bugs making the software better? It sounds like people at your company spend so much time fixing bugs that you don't have much time to implement new features. All software has bugs to fix. But it sounds like perhaps your team could spend more time up front thinking things out so that there's less chance of having bugs to fix later. You lost me at Web3. Web3 that alone has more red flags than a Soviet parade. Web3, that's where the problem began. Web3 should be renamed Dweeb3. Find another job. It really doesn't have to be this shit. I work under 40 hours a week and enjoy the work. You don't have to work for these dickheads. Startups in general can be very hectic and somewhat toxic. Weird new age crap like Web3, blockchain, big data, etc. is always 10 times worse. Don't gravitate towards hippies. Gravitate towards humans that genuinely care about other humans. You don't have to give in completely. You can choose to stand up for what you believe in. If my boss says to me that I have to regularly complete whatever he dreams up by the end of the week, I will politely inform him that I am a salaried employee and that I will do my best during working hours. And anything beyond that is not my problem. Hey op. A lot of people here shitting on Web3. I work in the industry as well and can promise you it's not all like this. I'm pretty happy where I am, and while there is the occasional drama, it's still the best job I've ever had. X200B. I can promise you that you can find something else that is less stressful in the industry. Since you already have experience, you should be able to find a position quickly. Web3. Found your problem. Lol, Web3. Op. Just start applying elsewhere. Web3, let me stop you right there. Web3 is something you have work your ass off. Mind my tongue, there's lot of hype around it. And I am sure your founder too had lot of pressure to be a rich money mouth face as soon as possible. I did kinda freelance project on blockchain, it was fun and exhausting. Either look for another job or draw your boundaries and tell your boss.